Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dear brothers, sisters, and friends. Hope you're well, hope you're good. It's your brother Naseem Khan back again on Face the Facts on UCTV. Obviously, you guys know this show from Buckingham Palace to B-Wing, and you watched it last week, and you've seen an insight onto Mr Ditta, Bash Ditta. So today we're returning with an episode 2 of Buckingham Palace to B-Wing, the extra mile. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum. How are you, Naseem?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Keeping well?
Thank you again for popping by for this second episode.
No problem. I see you got your UCTV.
Yes, last week, there was a bit of technical issues.
Yeah, I believe so.
You know,
I believe so. Was it quite many views last week?
Absolutely, I think we did fantastic. I'll just go off some of the stuff that I printed out here. Going off record, we had over, I think, 700 something views on YouTube.
Fantastic.
And over 300 on Facebook, which is fantastic for a first time show.
And I think there's something like 300 emails.
Yeah. I've just got, we had approximately 300 emails, which were sent to Mr Ditta, and a few also sent to me. So we are going to go off a few things.
Can I just say, Naseem, I am going to respond to every single email.
Fantastic.
And I will do by next week. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
No problem. I just want to say again that if you do guys have a technical issue with lagging on YouTube, do not worry about it, because we always replay on Facebook. Again, obviously it's that kind of a time, people are off, a lot of people are on the net, if you know what I mean. So let's kick off with it straight away, yeah? First of all, Mr Ditta.
Okay.
Where'd you get your jacket from?
This jacket?
And the previous one.
All right, okay. Can I just say that is, although it looks like you need one,
okay, thank you.
A secret.
I can't pull it off, you see. I'm not a man for suits. I've never had been.
But I will give you the name off air.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Because he's a man and he can pull the jackets off. We know that.
Thank you very much. It's very kind. It's
no
very
problem.
kind.
No problem. I just want to begin with, have you been to Buckingham Palace?
I have been to Buckingham Palace.
Fantastic.
Not to get an OBE or anything, but I've been there. I was invited there.
Right.
Because I represented a young man whose father was quite involved in politics.
From Blackburn, was he? No names mentioned, yeah.
I'm not mentioning any names of any people in this podcast, simply because I've not sought permission and it's unfair. But I represented a young man, and it was a successful outcome. And to my surprise, he rang me up one day. I'm sat at work, and he said to me, would you like to go to Buckingham Palace? So I rang my wife and I said, go out and buy yourselves a new dress. We're going to Buckingham Palace.
We're going Buckingham.
And the invitation that comes is very, very articulate. It's in gold, very big, and I've still got it. I've kept it.
Memory.
So yeah, we went to Buckingham Palace. We went in, when you go through St James Square.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because it's very, very busy.
Yeah.
But then when you go through the back entrance of Buckingham Palace, because we walk through the back, and then you go in through the gardens, it just goes very quiet, and the gardens are immaculate.
Absolutely.
So we went round all the gardens. We had tea. I was sitting next to Dennis Thatcher.
Okay.
Funny man. Yeah, funny man.
Yeah.
So I was sat next to him, and we had the tea party, and then we had a tour of Buckingham Palace. You weren't allowed to use your phone.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to take photographs. But yeah, it was a very, very memorable day.
I can agree with that. I didn't necessarily go on a tea party, but we went for a tour with the family, and we actually went to the garden side. They are massive. Yeah. So we had a little, absolutely.
And what did you think of the interior?
It's very classical, antique, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of gifts they were telling us that have come from different countries.
That's right.
They've actually got gold plated on the walls. And they've got like plastic sheeting on it.
It's not like you would say modern, like say Dubai, or like modern and artistic and like that. It's very, very British. Yeah. But yeah, very, very memorable occasion. I didn't get to speak to the Queen. She was a bit way off, but I did see her.
You did wave though.
I waved. I waved, and she waved back.
Fantastic. That's right. I'm going to go to one of the emails, Bash.
Okay.
I'm going to go to one of the emails.
Okay.
The first email, like I said, you did say we'll be selective on emails and when we get a chance. So I'll go into one.
Yeah.
The first email is, how can you represent bad people?
Well, what's the definition of a bad person? Yeah. People who require representation, and I believe people are not born bad.
Yeah.
Most people. I think people are a product of their environment. And I think that circumstances make an individual. So a person may commit an offence where the circumstances are such that he has to. That doesn't condone the offence, but it gives an explanation. So I don't look at and judge people. Only Allah can judge people.
Absolutely, fact.
Okay, so it's not for me to judge you. It's not for you to judge me. And I will never judge. Okay, that's not to say I haven't in the past. I'm only human, and we have traits in us that maybe are not of the highest of integrity. But you work hard to try and improve yourself. So I don't judge anybody now. I don't judge anybody if they are wealthy and how they got their wealth, or if they're in a certain that is not my concern. When I represent people and have represented people, I don't judge them. Okay, it's like going to the hospital. Does a doctor refuse to treat a person? What about the instances of mass murder where the individual concerned has been shot?
Absolutely.
Taken to the hospital. The doctor doesn't say, I'm not treating you because you're a bad person. He gets on with the job. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Same as a lawyer. If you start thinking about your client in a negative way, then you can't represent him properly, because you're going to have that inner feeling in you that this person is a wrong person. So if you've got that feeling, give up the case. Give up that case, because that feeling is going to stop you doing the best for that person.
Good message.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So don't judge. Yeah, it's not for you to judge. Okay. I personally did not deal with certain type of cases because I couldn't face those kind of cases. And I knew if I dealt with those kind of cases, I wouldn't be able to give it my best. So I refused to deal with them. Okay. And you know the cases involving child indecency, that kind of thing. Never dealt with one in my life. Okay, because I have feelings there. All right. So I know if I go and I try and deal with somebody in that kind of case, my own feelings are too strong to prevent me. But other than that, no.
This is the issue. This is the point, Mr Ditta, where you shouldn't get your feelings involved in your line of work, really.
No,
because it will deter you from.
Well, you see, the thing is, Nassim, there's two types of situation. Okay. The first type of situation is where what I've just described. Okay. Don't judge. The second type of situation is how you then represent that individual. A lot of the time, the people used to say to me, and the police used to say to me, "Are these people your relatives? Why are you bothered so much?" Okay. One of the places I used to work, at 5:00 p.m., it sounded like Piccadilly Circus. You know why, Nassim? Everybody had their alarms on at 5:00. Home time. I never had my alarm on. Because for me, if I could stay behind and do somebody's bail application, knowing that if I did it, that would mean that had to be in by 9 a.m. the following morning. Okay? If it was in by 9:00 a.m. because I'd completed it the day before, my client's application is heard the following day at 10:00. So if it's a Thursday or a Friday, I have more chance of getting him bail because I stayed behind to do it.
Absolutely.
If I can't be bothered to stay behind, he'll stay in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, application on Monday.
So this is what we're talking about, the extra mile then?
This is what we're talking about. So the point I was going to make there is, when you said don't get emotion involved, some lawyers don't.
Yeah.
Some lawyers are very matter of fact. They represent you matter of fact. They will do a good job, matter of fact, straight down the line. I'm different, and other lawyers like me are different. You get emotional, in the sense that you get emotionally attached to a case.
Passionate.
Yeah,
feelings.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So that's two feelings there. One feeling is, which was you get emotional as in, And the other emotion is like, yeah.
You get attached.
Yeah.
You want to fight hard for your case. You believe in your client's innocence. So you fight for it. Of course you do. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Mr Ditta.
Sorry, I wasn't challenging you.
No, you're all right.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on to... I did a bit of digging myself.
Oh, did you?
Sorry.
Okay. In the garden.
And I found something.
All right.
The drug case that you had in Pakistan.
Yeah. Oh,
you had many, but we're going to touch upon one. The Adiala in Rawalpindi jail.
Okay. All right. You found that one.
Yes.
You want to know about that case?
Absolutely. Take a deep breath and let's do this.
It was a case where very, very succinctly, where a client and his family were found with pure heroin, about £3 million worth when they were coming in. I remember the day, it was Eid day, and I went to Manchester airport where they'd been detained. As part of the case preparation, I remember at that time senior lawyers going through the office saying, we think it's a good idea if we go to Pakistan because this case has got connections there. The person who we say planted the drugs is in jail in Pakistan.
And this was your first trip?
In Adial jail,
right.
Rawalpindi. So they were walking through and they said, who wants to go to Pakistan? I put my hand up. I thought, free trip.
Yeah.
If I'll go see my grandma.
Yeah.
Free trip. So I'll go.
Yeah.
They said, are you sure? It's pretty dangerous. I said, no, I'll go. So I went. I stayed in the Serena Hotel. Have you stayed there?
I've not stayed there, but I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Wonderful hotel.
Beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful. And the service and the food, immaculate. But can I tell you something that was quite bizarre that happened?
Of course you can.
Before that. Yeah. So I remember whilst I was being booked in for the Serena Hotel, or prior to that, my secretary, I was at home packing. And my secretary rang me and she said to me, Mr Ditta, you know that we've not been able to get you a room at the Marriott. I said, why not? I got quite angry. I said, why not? She said, turn your TV on. I said, I haven't got time. I put your TV on. I put the TV on, put Al Jazeera on, and guess what? There was a picture of the Marriott Hotel being blown up.
Wow.
Yeah, serious. Being blown, it'd been blown up.
I bet you were like...
And I was thinking,
I'm supposed to be going there.
I was supposed to be going there, yeah. So I booked so they booked me into the Serena. I go there. Whilst I go there, I get permission to go to the jail, the Adial jail. And you know what? I see people here talk about jail, but jail in Pakistan, horrendous.
Yeah, we've seen a few inside.
Have you seen
actually been there? So.
I've been there. I've seen the jail inside. It's horrendous. And I went to Adial jail, and as part of one of the things I had to do was I had to go to Dodial. Have you been there?
No.
It's in the mountains near Kashmir.
Right.
So I had to go and get statements from there. And I remember I had a driver, I had a bodyguard, and I had...
it's like a movie, isn't it?
Yeah. And this bodyguard, he would sit there with a gun, which looked like it was from the Boer War of 1856. Yeah. That you actually needed to put gunpowder in. So old.
Yeah.
So we travelled, and they warned me. They said, listen, do not go there. Do not go there. Because there's bandits. And you're not safe as a British person. They will know you. Okay. But I went anyway.
Right.
And we went, we took the statements, fantastic. So whilst I was there, Nassim, they were very hospitable people. They said to me, stay the night, go in the morning, okay? But whilst I was there, I saw these spiders I've never ever seen before in my life. And I just wanted to go back to the hotel. So I'm thinking...
Bigger than house spiders.
Bigger than house spiders. And because it's high in the mountain,
yeah,
the water goes off.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought, I can't stay here. No disrespect. I need to get back to the hotel.
I think many of our brothers and sisters out there who are from that area in Riyadh, they must be understanding what you
Well,
said.
this was a while ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's like now.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Scenic,
Yeah, I remember getting out of the car as we're driving up and looking, and it just looked like a postcard.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So we started driving down. We got lost. The petrol light comes on.
Yeah.
We can hear bandits.
Right.
And I remember thinking at that point, what are you doing here?
I think that's when it hit
my
home,
children
didn't it?
flashed into my eyes, my wife, my mum, father. And I remember thinking, what are you doing here? That it came into my mind.
Because before that moment, you were just normal.
Yeah.
But at that moment,
We were
whoa.
but I could actually hear the bandits. So as we were driving down, the guy was panicking. So believe it or not, I had to get him into the back, and me had to drive my bodyguard to safety.
That was an experience, Mr. Ditta.
No, that was an experience. But you know what? I don't regret it.
Yeah.
I think that it was absolutely a phenomenal learning curve. I made so many contacts out there, which I utilize in future. And as part of that, I was nominated for Legal Aid Lawyer of the Year.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, I got a commendation for that. So
that's something big, not many.
But you see the thing is,
before
for me.
we move forward, Bash, before we move forward, Mr. Ditta, I just want to say, after you drove your car, you got safely to your hotel, because we want to know that.
Yeah, we got
that's why you're here.
But you see, the thing is, I never thought twice. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was only afterwards. Maybe it was lack of a forethought at that time. But I never thought twice about going. I went. Yeah. And because of the fact that later on in my career, other lawyers from other firms used to book me to go to Pakistan to go and deal with some inquiries over there. And I used to love it.
Yeah, you would do, wouldn't you?
I used to get paid, free holiday. Yeah. But yes, and after that, I did a few other things out there.
A couple of other cases.
One that comes to mind is, so I went out there for about 4 murder cases, but one that comes to mind is a murder that was actually committed over there, and the individual then fled to the United Kingdom. Now, under legislation in the United Kingdom, the Homicide Act, you can actually get tried for a murder abroad as a British citizen. Very rare, but it does happen.
See, these are what we need to know with these kind, because I don't know myself.
You don't need a treaty, a bi-party treaty, so you could actually get tried. It's in this country. So I went on a case over there, but there was a lot of strong feelings in that case. So I had to pretend I was not the lawyer, but somebody from the court. But eventually they did find out.
Right.
And again, they came to the Serena Hotel, and I had to leave the hotel the following day because they actually fired gunshots at the hotel. And
whoa.
Yeah, the feeling was very strong. But I was there gathering evidence, and I gathered some good evidence. And this was the main argument I wanted to present was that because of the way the evidence had been gathered in Pakistan, that it was unfair to try my client in the United Kingdom.
Fantastic you saying that, because I want to say one thing, guys. Obviously, Bash has enlightened me with little stories, but we always keep the main one for the podcast.
Yeah.
And even I don't know what's coming next.
Yeah. So, for example, the way the evidence is gathered, the way the evidence is retained. If there's going to be a trial in this country, that evidence has to be preserved in a way that the forensic documents, the continuation of exhibits, are all done in a way that make any trial safe, possible. Okay, so I was looking at these points. Yeah. So I remember going to the hotel where this murder happened.
Wow. After how long was this?
This was about 4 or 5 months after it happened.
Right.
So I remember going to the hotel, and I go in, and it's in Rawalpindi, and I'm going in. I'm not going to mention the hotel, but I've gone in. I've spoke to the manager, and I've said, "Do you remember this thing happening?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Can I see the room?" He goes, "Yeah." I've gone to the room. I've started taking photographs. And I said, "Do you remember this incident?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Have you still got the same bedding?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What about the mattress?" So he turns the mattress over. He goes, "It's the same mattress."
Look at that. After all that months, the evidence
I then
is
said
there.
to him, I said, "Well, did the police not seize the mattress?"
Yeah.
No. I said, did not take samples? I said, "Did you not close the room?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, why not?" He said, "Well, because I need to make money. So I'm not going to close my hotel."
I bet you right.
So I'm thinking, okay.
But for you, it was good.
For me, it was good.
Yeah.
For me, he gave me a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I tracked down the police officer, who was the officer involved, who came to do the investigation.
It's like Inspector Clouseau you're going on
here. And I remember walking into his office, and I remember going into his office, and he was sat there, and I'm talking to him, a little bit suspicious of me, and I'm saying to him, "Right, this is who I am. I'm come to gather the evidence. Is there any forensic? Is there any DNA? Is there anything that you took?" "No." I said, "Well, did you photograph the room, the blood splattering, all this kind of?" "No." I said, "Okay." I said, "Where's where's the murder weapon?" So he goes like this. He opens his drawer.
4 months later,
4 months wrapped in cloth.
Wow.
And he puts it on the table.
Yeah.
So I'm not in any way criticising Pakistan and the tent. No.
Yeah.
Obviously we are on a different level in terms of the preservation, DNA, etc., in this country. But I gathered this evidence, and I thought to myself,
with your eyebrow raised, yeah.
But I thought to myself, and this is really important, Yassine, because this means to any young lawyer, to any person, to any established lawyer, believe in your own viewpoint. Okay? Because I've gathered this evidence. I've come back. I'm very proud of myself.
Absolutely.
In the sense that I've gone there. I've done it.
You achieved it, yeah.
And I remember a meeting I had with a QC who was dealing with the case.
Can you just explain to the viewers what is a QC abbreviation?
So Queen's Counsel is like the senior barrister who will be dealing with the case.
Right.
And you know what? Nassim, he just totally dismissed it. And I, at that stage, you may think it. I'm saying to him, why? Why can't you run this argument? Why not? You tell me why. And he just totally dismissed it. He said to me, "I'm the QC." Okay, and I left. Now then, you know, if that was to happen now, what I would say is this, and let me just get on to this point. Being involved in a criminal trial is very, very stressful for an individual and for his family. It's probably the most stressful period in their life, because there is a bureaucratic machinery there who wants to put you in jail, and then who may want to do proceeds of crime and take money from you. It's stressful. Okay? So many people, their heads will go. They cannot think straight.
Absolutely.
When it's that pressure situation, you cannot think straight. You then want people around you to do the best for you. And you trust in those people to do the best for you. Understand?
Absolutely.
If those people are not doing the best for you, and if those people have another agenda, then you need to have other people around you who will say, "Hold on, let's just have a look at this from my point of view." Do you understand what I'm saying?
Who could them people be, or where can they find them people?
So let me give you an example, right? when you're in a trial situation, when there is a trial situation, and the cases I've dealt with, if you haven't got a lawyer who will then stand up to the barrister and say, well, hold on, you should be running this argument, you should be doing this. Or even if the family members are not saying to their own lawyer, okay, why don't you have a look at it this way? Or why don't you have a look at it that way? Why don't you do this? Or why can't we do this? Or why is this witness not important? Okay? Tactical decisions, strategic decisions that will affect the outcome of your trial. Whether you're going to win or whether you are not going to win. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if those decisions are being made without discussion or consideration with you or explanation, then they could manifest in unfair convictions. Do you understand?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is when I started to have a look at this a few years ago. I started to have a look at this, and I became involved in, because of personal circumstances, I became involved in projects, some connected to universities, some not, which deal with miscarriages of justice.
Right.
And I then began to look at how you can have a protection or a protective barrier in place.
Right.
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons I set up I got involved in a company that is currently dealing with circumstances where in a trial situation, Naseem, so if you're in a trial situation, we don't undermine the lawyers who are representing you, but we give you a different viewpoint.
So you give advice and a different angle.
So if somebody's on a trial,
expertise.
if somebody's on a trial and they're being advised to run a trial in a particular way, and they're not comfortable, or they're not totally with that, then they can come to my company, and we will give them a second viewpoint. We will give them the potential for other avenues. That, have you had a look at this? Has your legal team considered this? Do you understand?
So that's the assist law, which we've
so that's a consultancy assist law. So we just like the name assist.
Yeah.
Let me make it clear. We're not looking to undermine anybody. Okay, we're not looking to undermine anybody. I've got great respect for the lawyers who work very hard for their clients. But what we do offer is that we offer people an opportunity to have a second opinion. Yeah. So have somebody else look at it who can then maybe generate another idea.
Because of experience.
Absolutely. And it's worked well. In a number of cases. I've worked and I'm working with other people, and I give my viewpoint in terms of how to prepare a case. It's all about what you have to do to win a case. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
How is a jury going to believe you? That's what it's about.
Fantastic.
Okay. So that is something that is not available it's available in London. There's a number of consultancies when I check. Manchester, there's 2. Nothing around here similar to that. So it's rather like, Naseem, if you're illness, you go and see one doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with the mechanic, innit? You go and see another.
You go and get an opinion. Yeah. And you go and get an idea.
So you have your own team forefront in that?
We have our own team, yeah.
Which then run it by you?
No, well, I look at it.
Okay,
so I look at a lot. I like to think I know what I'm looking for. And I look at the situation. I look at different ways of winning a case. And I'll give an advice. I'll write it out and I'll tell you this is it.
Yeah. People need that advice, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because because there are miscarriages of justice.
Absolutely, they are.
Yeah. People. Let me say this. Yeah. People. An old barrister once said to me, when posed the question, do you think there is justice? Do you think there's justice? Do you think there's justice in this country?
I'd say little.
I would say that certainly as far as Asian people are concerned, or black people, that justice is not something delivered to you.
You have to go and get it.
You have to go and get it.
Absolutely.
Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
hence,
when
I said little.
yeah. So when this barrister said to me, he said to me this. He said, "The justice system will always work, Mr Ditta, and inevitably there will be a right result. Justice always
will be served."
he said, "Justice always will prevail." I don't agree. I do not agree. Because in my experience and the situation now, it seems the situation is not innocence until proven guilty, but you're guilty and go and prove your innocence. That's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
I can agree with
you
that.
are guilty until you prove your innocence.
Absolutely.
So you go and find the evidence.
Get back to us.
To prove that you are innocent.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I absolutely understand. Yeah.
So,
I think the people are understanding as well, because you're breaking everything down. You know what I mean?
So what I say is, don't sit back there and say justice will prevail, and then you're sat in jail 3 months later. No, fight hard.
Yeah.
Fight hard. Fight to get the evidence put before the court so you can win your case, because justice will not prevail.
There you go.
Okay, I've seen crazy things. I got referred a case to have a look at not so long ago, and you're not going to believe this. 2 gentlemen from Iraq charged with very serious offences.
Wow.
Kidnapping, etc., etc. So, when I'm speaking to one of them, and I say to him, "Who's your lawyer? Who was your lawyer?" Oh, sorry, I'm speaking to one of the family because they're in jail. So I'm saying, "Who's the lawyer?" I said, "They didn't have a lawyer." I said, "They must have had a lawyer." Said, "No, they didn't have a lawyer." I said, "Well, why did they not have a lawyer?" He said, "Well, because they tried to change a lawyer and the judge wouldn't allow them to change the lawyer." I said, "Okay, but then they would have the first lawyer." He goes, "No, because that lawyer then didn't represent them." I said, "But who represented them at the trial? They represent themselves."
Oh.
I said, "Well, how is that even possible? What is their English like?" It's not very good. Now I'm looking into that, and it was the case that they were representing themselves.
Wow, with no experience.
How can you represent yourself?
Just saying what's happened.
Because the judge wouldn't transfer legal aid. 7 years in jail. Yeah. So, things like this. Things like this do happen. And currently the situation is that the courts are in crisis. The defense, they're fighting hard against the whole machinery of the government. So think about it. The government cuts defense fees, so the lawyers, they don't get paid an awful lot. People think criminal lawyers are making all sorts of money. No, they're not. They are fixed fees. So they're thinking, we can't afford to do X, Y, Z.
There's no funds there.
Because there's no funds there. Yeah. Whereas they're up against the government machinery, the Crown Prosecution Service, where the government's throwing money at them. So how is that fair?
It's not fair.
Yeah. So the only way that you're going to get justice is if your lawyer is able to get off and allocate time, allocate resources to win your case.
Extra mile.
Go that extra mile. Okay? And if he's prepared to do that, it's hard work, Naseem. It's nothing, there's no magic wand. It's hard work. I once was dealing with a case where delivered to my home address was 20 boxes of papers. I spent 3 weeks looking through them. And I found pieces of evidence, 3 pieces of evidence that won the case. 3 weeks I spent going through that without payment, because we never used to get paid to go through boxes. Yeah. So
nobody does that these days.
Nobody would do that. Yeah.
Very difficult.
I remember. So it's one of those where I saw that it's not just about money. I saw that, listen, you know what? People are being failed. My own personal experience tells me people are being failed. Okay? People are being failed because no disrespect, they blindly follow the lawyer at court and think that, oh, you know what, he must have my best in, he must, well, maybe he will, but maybe some of the decision making is out of expediency and self-interest as opposed to his client's interest. Okay? Maybe he's not doing everything he should be doing, but who's going to pull him up?
Exactly.
And this is where my team come in, because we will pull him up. We will prepare documents and we'll say, look, what about this? Why have you not considered this? Yeah, should this not be done? Yeah. So,
which is 2 minds are greater than one, like they say, don't they? You know.
Well, it's just a case of like, if you're prepared to look at it and give a different opinion. I like to think that I know, alhamdulillah, I know what I'm looking at and what I'm talking about. So I can look at things. It comes with experience. It comes with knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you got it, then it can give a different viewpoint. So I'm not saying that all the time that I am right.
But that's your deed as well. In a sense, you helping a person is a good deed.
Yeah. So I'm not saying all the time that my suggestion is going to be followed, but it's like a suggestion that if you are giving it, investigate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is where we come in. We will give you that suggestion. We'll give you that second viewpoint. If you are charged with any offence, we'll come and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And tell you how to fight it.
As Assist Law Limited, we're just going to go to a quick break, Mr Ditta, and we shall return. And in the adverts, you will see Assist Law, and then we'll be moving on to another one as well. So stay there, guys.
Right.
Assalamu alaikum, guys, hope you're well. We're back in the hot seat. Well, we're already in the hot seat actually, but after the breaks we come back. You may have seen many adverts on there. One advert is Assist Law, which Mr Ditta explained to you about and what they involved and how they give you an outer look, an outer perspective of the case that you're doing, which is an extra suggestion and opinion really of through experience. Have you handled any cases, Mr Ditta, where, let's go back abroad.
Abroad,
for example. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was one case which we touched upon just slightly, and it was about the people when you went to a village and they were just like normal village people who wasn't actually speaking on that level, but when you were asking them the question, it wasn't going anywhere, and they were just like trying to say, yeah, this is this, this is this. Have you ever experienced any village kind of a case
in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Desi case. I remember when I went to Pakistan, obviously because of the legal background, I was interested in the legal system in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And the legal system was developed by the British. Yeah. So this concepts of legal principle from Britain, which obviously has been applied and set up in Pakistan. So they have some of the same legislation.
Right.
But some they don't. Right. So I mentioned I went to Adial, jail. And I was given a tour of the jail.
Yeah.
And I was walking around, I was seeing people, and then people were coming up to me. And I remember, like, some guy came to me, and I said to him, Assalamu alaikum. It was wa alaikum salam. So I was speaking to him in Urdu, and I said to him, he was an elderly guy, and I said to him, what are you here for? Because they say that I stole a bike. Yeah. I said, okay. I said, did you steal a bike? He goes, I never stole a bike. I said, okay. So how long have you been here? It was 2 years. I said, 2 years? For stealing a bike? He goes, yeah. I said, where's your lawyer? He goes, I haven't got one. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So people who can't afford a lawyer get pushed to the back of the queue.
Yeah.
Queue.
Yeah.
Now then, can we be so high and mighty about that? No. Why not?
Because it's not right, isn't it? Everybody should be treated equally.
And I tell you, in this country, can we be so high and mighty? The answer is no.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because we're the same.
Yeah.
Justice here is dependent now on money. Controversial, true.
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who's got access to money and you're charged with a criminal offence, for example, you're going to go out and get the top QC, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I agree with you.
He's going to win the case.
Pesa bolta hai.
Yes.
Yeah. Money talks, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wasn't what you're saying there. So you're going into Japanese. So do you see?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas another individual charged with the same offence can only get a legal aid barrister.
Yeah.
And legal aid barristers, they might not be interested because they're on a fixed fee.
Not fair though, is it?
It's not fair because, say for example, you want somebody who's known to deal with this type of case in London. He ain't going to come from London. He's not going to come from London to deal with the case in Preston or Manchester because you don't get paid your travel.
No.
Right? So you think about it, all these famous people were charged with offences. They go and get the best Queen's Counsel, which means that they can get the best result.
But would you say questions have always been raised about plea bargain? For example, yeah. So would you say whether people have got the money and the ones who haven't got the money, would they refer to a plea bargain? Would them two solicitors or the QC or whoever do a thing like, listen, don't worry about it, let's throw something out onto the table? Where does that come into it, plea bargain?
You see, plea bargain is a whole different subject, but we'll touch upon it now that you mention it. Happens without plea bargaining, the whole system would grind to a halt. So plea bargaining is, okay, you're in court for a section say 20 wounding offence. We're going to drop it but plead guilty to a lesser offence. You haven't done the section 20 wounding, okay? It's maybe self-defence, but they say, oh, we'll drop it. And then your barrister goes to see the judge and says, well, I won't give him prison, but I'll give him community service. What are you going to do?
That's what it means.
What would you do?
I'll say no.
You would say no?
Yeah.
Thousands say yeah. Because they don't want to risk an adverse finding by the jury, end up in jail, even though they haven't done it. But
is that fair though?
It's not fair.
Yeah, that's my point.
It's
but
not
so
fair.
you see, the only way to get out from that is to take the plea bargain, or you'll be looking at a higher.
Possibly. And what I don't like is, with the greatest respect, lawyers who oversell it. Say, oh, you better plead guilty to this. If you're found guilty, you're going to get 10 years. I know it's rubbish. When people come to me and say, oh, my lawyer said if I found guilty of this, because they're overplaying it, so their client will take the plea bargain.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. See, when I said no, I wouldn't agree because sometimes it's not right.
But you know, sometimes people say, listen, give me whatever you want. I haven't done this. But honest to God, very, very rare. Most of the time, because of the advice that is given, and because people don't want to risk a trial, they'll take a plea bargain.
Easy way out.
But
do the lawyers make the money off that, or do they conduct a deal with the judge, or what would you say?
The lawyers don't make the money. They obviously get a trial fee, a crack trial fee, but it's easy for them.
Yeah, they don't have to go into it.
They don't have to work on the case because people plead guilty. So that's case done, off, gone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying lawyers are dealing with it in this way, but what I am saying and what I am critical of is the fact that some lawyers oversell the worst parts of a case and say you got to plead guilty because of X, Y, Z. And I say, well, what about the good parts of the case? Think about that.
Because they don't want to go the extra mile, innit?
They don't want to go the extra mile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not being... I honestly will tell you, Naseem, that I'm not going to say I've never taken a plea bargain. That would be a lie. But they wouldn't even come to talk to me a lot of the times because they know I wouldn't take it. Yeah? So,
No, you're being honest, isn't it?
I would play I would play mind games with them.
Because obviously you got to go through a phase yourself, experience yourself to go and teach other people and then think about it later on. Many people have done it.
It's all about
when we were,
I mean, it's like for example,
I'm just got a question on here on YouTube, Mr Ditta. 1 second, Ali. Criminal civil cases, money talks. I couldn't afford a barrister and got done over in court for a civil case. Barristers and solicitors know each other. They do backroom deals, but I've already touched upon that. What do you say?
I don't like that. I don't like this familiarity. I'm not your friend if you're, I know it sounds bad, but I'm not your friend if you're a policeman. I'm not your enemy, but I'm not your friend. I remember once, the police wouldn't talk to me in the police station. They hated me.
Yeah, I remember.
But I wasn't bothered. I hated them. Because once the policeman come up to me and in front of your client, you stood there and he would say to you, how are you, Mr Ditta? How's your wife? How are your children? So I said, listen, none of your business.
There you go. Yeah.
You're not my friend. You know why they do that? They're told to do that because it undermines your relationship with your client. Because your client started thinking, they know each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I used to see solicitors in there. Yeah.
So this could be in reference to that.
Yes,
like
I used to see solicitors in there. They never used to let me stay inside the custody area. As soon as I finished my case, they'd kick me out. But there'd be solicitors stood there, just chatting away with the police, having a coffee. In all the years I went down there, I never once got offered a coffee. Yeah. I don't want to be stood there having a coffee with them. Because as far as I'm concerned, you, i.e. the police, are investigating an offence to put my client in jail. You're not my friend.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So I am professional. Yeah. Of course I am.
Yeah.
But let's not make any bones about it. Yeah. So I don't like that over familiarity. Over familiarity in court. Hello, John. How you doing? How was your weekend? I never used to get involved in that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just wrong. People do it.
They just want to wind you up, don't they, in a sense as well?
No, it's undermining.
Yeah.
It's undermining that, and your client feels. How's your client going to feel?
And then you have to explain to your client, look, it's nothing like that. They're just playing the.
But you shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Yeah,
it shouldn't. I remember one time there was a guy who used to work in this town who used to take samosas to the police. Right. I'm not lying to you. As a lawyer.
As a lawyer?
Yes. He used to take samosas sometimes into the police station custody. And I remember one time, I went into the custody area and they said to me, Mr Ditta, you've never brought us samosas. And I said, well, listen, if I wanted to be a takeaway delivery driver, I would have done. Go and get them yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that over familiarity is something that I'm not saying that people who are friends or
but you've seen it happen. Like you give an example of Samosa. You've seen it happen. Well, this question is another question here. I've witnessed it myself. Went to Crown Court to watch a case, and during a recess, the opponent barristers were talking to each other like friends, discussing what they were going to do together. But that's what Mr Ditta just mentioned as well.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, You see, the thing is, obviously, be professional and civil. I was always professional and civil, and I am to my opponent in court. But I'm not interested in what you're doing this weekend. So don't ask me what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So which is why So, which is why they would never engage with me, because I set my stall out straight away from day one. I'm professional. I will deal with my client, but I am not your friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's what you used to do.
They probably don't want to. They probably didn't want to be my friend. But, you know what I mean? They probably did. They probably hated it. They hated me. They didn't want to be my friend. Yeah. But it's you know what people don't what they don't understand sometimes people is that when you go to the police station, they are trained. They are trained.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they are trained in relation to how to deal with solicitors.
Yeah.
They are trained in relation to how to answer certain, deal with certain situations. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
they are trained like that, so they have that training. And people need to be aware of that.
There you have it, guys. They're trained. Ali, thank you very much for commenting on that.
Is that the questions? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the questions.
Do you want to talk about some other cases abroad?
Yeah, but I want to talk about don't be a sheep.
Don't be a sheep. Okay, in what context?
Any which context you want to.
Well,
in regards to follow the leader or.
But what I mean by don't be a sheep is this: that the amount of times.
Yeah.
The amount of times people say, and I've touched upon this before, a trial situation is like a pressure cooker. Do not underestimate how stressful it is. Even the most strongest people, their head will go.
They'll break.
Won't break, but their head will go. So when your head goes, you just think, you know what? You, my lawyer, you made that decision. So this is one of the things I mean, and what you probably mean is don't be a sheep. Which is, don't just think that what is being done is the best for me. No. Take a step back. Challenge.
Yeah.
Think. Go and speak to somebody else. Go and speak to somebody in your family who's at court. Okay? Get a different perspective. Take a step back, because the decisions that you make during a trial, the strategic decisions, the strategy, etc., are going to be decisions which affect the outcome of your trial. So you have to make sure that they are the right ones.
Absolutely. We're going to go to one more question about Ali. I think Ali's on it. He's listening very carefully and he's into this.
Okay.
At law school, I was told in law school we have the Rolls Royce of criminal justice systems. Compared to the rest of the world, what does your guest think of that statement? So, what does Mr Ditta think of the Rolls Royce of the criminal justice systems?
I think it's more like a Skoda.
Right.
Not a Rolls Royce.
Right.
Just because in other countries their criminal justice system might be corrupt, might be wrong, does not mean that because we are better than that system, we are Rolls Royce. We are not. We are not. In my view, if you are a defendant in a criminal trial, you feel helpless because you have this bureaucracy all working towards getting you sent to jail. What do I mean by that? I mean this. Number one, can I go out and get any lawyer that I want? No. Because criminal legal aid is shambolic. The payment to criminal lawyers is shambolic. They are on fixed fees. If you were to be told some of the fees they get for a case, you would understand. So they don't get a lot of money. So because of that fixed fee, the very name fixed fee, the lawyers will do fixed work. If your fixed fee reaches a level and your case is not still prepared, some will stop. That's number one.
Number one, guys.
Number two, You then enter into the court system where plea bargaining kicks in.
Mm.
So you're going to be offered a deal. You haven't done it.
Mm. Which we mentioned earlier, yeah.
But they're going to say to you, listen, you're better off taking this deal. Because you could end up with a long time in jail.
Mm.
Or for whatever reason, which is exaggerated. So many people plead guilty. Then you've got the situation with regards to your opponent.
So it's number 3 this, yeah?
Number 3.
Ali, number 3.
Your opponent, CPS. Are they on a level playing field with the defence? No. They have, as a government body, they have money thrown at them. Do you know how many criminal lawyers have left to join the CPS?
Wow.
Thousands. Just check it.
Look at that.
Yeah. Why? Better money.
Mm.
Better job. No having to run around.
No extra mile.
Okay? I'm not going to say what I used to call CPS lawyers for respectful reasons. But
okay. You can abbreviate it.
Well, I used to call one of them the anorak.
Right.
But
moving on.
but
yeah.
Okay. So uneven playing field.
Yeah.
Number 4, the machinery behind. Your lawyer sat there, maybe 2 people in his office. What is he up against? He's up against the whole machinery of the police and the government Crown Prosecution Service. How can he evenly deal with them? 5, one of the biggest issues of miscarriage of justice in this country, disclosure. So in Pakistan, we use Pakistan, yeah? Some would say openly corrupt. But what would you call it? Where in this country, the prosecution are meant to provide you with material which undermines your case or assists your case.
Yeah.
Under the Criminal Procedure Investigation Act. Okay? Disclosure. You know what I mean? It's called disclosing a document. So this is a statement from somebody that we've taken, for example, it undermines our case as the prosecution. Here you can have it.
Mm.
You know how many cases are found as miscarriage of justice because they've failed to disclose documents? Check it. 2 years ago, there was a massive disclosure issue where 230 rape investigations stroke convictions were being reconsidered because of disclosure. Okay?
That's big.
So, in my opinion, yes, our system is better than other countries in the world, but that doesn't mean we are Rolls-Royce. Yeah? It doesn't mean we are Rolls-Royce. It means that as far as we are concerned, we are at a level where there are, in my opinion, miscarriages of justice going on every single day. And the sad thing is, and the unfortunate thing is that where there is a miscarriage of justice, and you're blaming your defense counsel and saying, well, he never did this or he never did that, you go to the Court of Appeal. Very, very rarely will it entertain any application that your lawyer's messed up. Why not? Tell me. Well, it's because they don't want to fight against their own.
Yeah.
Okay? Never will a lawyer or a barrister put their hand up and say, I got it wrong, because he's going to be sued.
So you just brush it under the carpet?
So they just say, no, we did everything right. But even if you get a new legal team and you can point to and say, you did this wrong, you should have done it this way, this was clear and prejudicial, and you have a very strong argument. I've been to the Court of Appeal. You have to fight tooth and nail to even get that application off the ground, because the area is called ineffective trial counsel.
Right.
Okay. But the judges of the Court of Appeal, they don't want to know on that ground.
That's because they don't want to give you that loophole, do they?
No, that's because they would rather find an avenue, if they want to say your conviction is unsafe, other than ineffective trial counsel, such as new evidence.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean,
they
yeah.
don't want to make a finding that these people messed up at your trial.
Yeah, and they get
Very rare, Naseem. Very rare do you get that kind. But doesn't stop us trying.
There you go. Assist law limited.
Well, yeah. It's kind of, you see, the thing is, it's sad that in this country it's left to universities. You know, universities have got similar things like, you know, in America they've got the Innocence Project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to get one off the ground here.
I think it'd be a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and it's
get the community involved as well.
Well, it's basically getting law students involved.
Yeah.
And getting case papers from the family and seeing if we can thoroughly look at those papers. It might be old cases, and
get some justice.
Pro bono, see if we can do something for the individual who has spent many years in jail.
That's fantastic.
But I don't think there is anything similar as the Innocence Project in the UK. I'm involved in other ones, but it's mainly, you know, the universities.
Yeah.
Some universities have got these little groups, and they look at cases like third-year law students and stuff like that.
But it needs to get out more, not stay taboo, really, I think. And that's
Sorry?
your mission. It needs to come out more, not stay taboo in the unis. And I think it should come more out in the world, especially here in Blackburn, like you're saying.
Well, you know what? It's one of those, isn't it? You get sent to jail. You're innocent. Okay? You say, what do the jail say to you? Say you're guilty, or you're not going to get your privileges. What are you denying it for? Yeah. Okay, I'm still denying it. Okay, well, you can't get your Cat D status. Okay? All right then. Well, I'm still denying it. Okay, well, you're not going to get home release curfew. Do you know what I mean?
They put you in the position where you're going to have to say, okay then.
Yeah.
Take you on the chin.
They put you in a position where they say, okay then, I've done it. Just to, some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people won't. Some people say, no, I'm not accepting it. I haven't done it. And it means that they will spend more time in jail.
Yeah,
they don't get their parole.
Yeah, they don't, yeah.
Yeah. Others, and do you blame them? Say, I'll just accept this because I want to get home to my family.
Yeah.
But that's the system.
Mr Ditta, I want to say thank you very much for coming on this episode of, what was it? What was this episode called? You've forgotten now, haven't you?
Buckingham Palace.
2?
B-Wing. I thought it was Cat D then.
No, but the episode was called The Extra Mile.
Okay.
I think we've explained what the extra mile is from A to Z, and I actually think it was a very in-depth interview. This was. I wouldn't call it interview podcast.
Well, I just the message for this interview is: look, lawyers, barristers, QCs are only human. The QC can only fire the shots that you give him. Without them, he's nothing. So don't be fearful of your own ability and confidence, and speak up and say to them, what about this? What about that? What about this? And don't let them just dismiss it out of hand. Get another viewpoint in the trial process, because there's always another way of doing something which might be better. So the phrase is, don't be a passenger, but be a
driver.
I like that, yeah. Don't be a passenger, but be a driver. No, but seriously,
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time, love you and leave you.
Thank you.
Right, guys, fantastic episode. I hope you enjoyed it as well. The extra mile, and I think we've got to know what the extra mile is from the experience of Mr Ditta Some great stories there. It definitely seems like a movie, and he's given a fantastic message out. All I'm going to say, guys, is thank you very much for your support for UCTV and for my show Face the Facts, and a huge thank you to Mr Ditta for coming on for the second episode. We will have another episode, but we'll keep you posted. Keep your eyes on the social media for the next poster. Thank you very much.